we need to talk about the new video ideas. What's wrong with my video ideas? So for starters, I don't want to say that they suck. You know what? No, they're pretty garbage. You do realize we're the same person, right? My garbage ideas are your garbage ideas. Alright, you got me there. But come on, listen to this first one. How to get your friends to stop making fun of your intensive bicep curl routine. Are you getting bullied in the gym again? No. Yeah, it looks like that therapist is really paying off. Look at this next one. How to day trade stocks during your 5-minute powerlifting rest periods. Wait, do we own stocks? What? No. At least none that you're aware of. Why? Do you have something to trade? We'll talk about that later. What about this next one? How to make peace with your gods when you know you're about to die under your 1 rep max squat. Who needs this video? Bro, there's a few times we needed that video. You're missing the point. We're a small channel right now, which means we need to focus in on a broader audience. I mean squat, bench, and deadlift. Every other fitness channel. But once we start to grow, then we can focus in on these more specific ideas. Oh, I get it. We lure them in with the squat, bench, and deadlift videos. And then wham, we hit them with the weird stuff, right? That is not what I'm saying at all. You know, sometimes I find it hard to believe we're the same person. How about this? At least for the time being, I make the ideas, you make the videos. Yeah, because the world needs another deadlift video. Yeah, no, whatever. Have the boring YouTube channel. I don't care. Yeah, you'll get over it. It's his last idea anyways. How to fight the biggest guy in your local commercial gym because he won't stop curling in the only squat rack. Honestly, get some views. Hey Joey, mind if we fight on camera? Yeah, it's for YouTube. What do the kids say these days? Do it for the gram? Same thing. What is up guys? It's your boy, Matt Malloy, coming at you again with another 3 top tips video. We already covered the low bar squat, and today we're looking at the deadlift, and then we also covered the bench press and the overhead press in the future. This video is lined up perfectly with my own deadlift, so for a while there my back was hurting every time I pulled, and I was super frustrated.
Let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor.
But now everything is feeling way better. My pull is going up by the week.
Let's go, Mac. Come on. Come on. Keep going.
Easy, dude. Nice job, man.
And I feel a lot less salty about making this video. So you notice my tips today guys that the first 2 are actually based off the starting position for the deadlift. And that's because the #1 most important thing when it comes to deadlifting is that starting position. Being off by an inch, whether it be with the bar being too far forward or something like hip height, can have a drastic effect on how hard a deadlift feels coming off the floor. And this is why I think deadlift can be rather frustrating to learn, and you'll have really good days and really bad days just based off of your starting position being off by about an inch or so. The good news is if we get this starting position locked in, your pulls will feel a lot better off the floor, and you're gonna feel much stronger with your deadlift. So that being said, let's check out the first tip. So tip #1 is not pushing the bar forwards when you initiate your pull. Obviously this is what I just mentioned in the intro there, and this is something that hits home with me because this is something that I tend to do all the time when I try and pull slack out of the bar. This is an extremely common error and one with a drastically bad effect to it. So you see this happen all the time when someone goes for that pull, the weights will kind of roll a little bit forward and the pull will initiate up. What happened here was the bar actually got out in front of you, so now you're pulling from a disadvantageous position and the pull is going to feel much worse. This is a really common error because it's kind of hard to notice. It happens when you are pulling all that slack out of the bar. Your shin position can push the bar a bit forward and you won't really notice it unless someone catches it from the side or you catch it on film. Ideally what you want to shoot for is that bar starting over midfoot position, and as you pull that slack out and initiate the pull, the weight comes straight up the floor, up in a straight line, and there is no roll forward with those plates. Now I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there is no secret fix to pushing the weight forward. You just have to be very cognizant with your pulls that they are going straight up, and that when you're pulling slack out of the bar, your shins are not moving forward and pushing the bar forwards. This is a bit difficult for the lifter themselves to see, so a good idea is to, one, either video your deadlifts from the side where you can kind of see that plate roll, or just have someone spot you from the side to see if the plates roll forward. It's very obvious that the plates fall forward for someone looking from the side or on video. So again, just be self-aware with this issue. This is one of the most common errors you will see with the deadlift, and it is a big one between a person feeling like a pull was the heaviest thing they've ever pulled and it coming as smooth as possible off the floor. All right guys, so tip number 2 for you guys is watching your hip height. I joke about this, but it all comes back to hips in the end. And specifically, I'm speaking about dropping a bit too low with your hip height. I don't tend to see many people go too high. That's a bit more rare, but I do see a lot of people dropping their hips super low when they go to either pull slack out of the bar or go to get into a tighter position. Now this is unfortunately a more difficult topic to discuss because with varying limb lengths and torso lengths, everyone's hip height is a little bit different, and you can't just point at a good deadlifter and say, hey, look at that hip height, copy that. So the way to achieve proper hip height for your deadlift is to set yourself up first to that midfoot position to the bar. So you're walking up to the bar, setting midfoot up to the barbell. You'll then set your hands, which will basically be just straight down to the bar, and grab. From here, we are dropping our hips until our shins meet the bar. I'll say that one more time, dropping our hips until the shins meet the bar. Notice I did not say bring your shins to the bar. This seems like a silly difference in cueing, but it has a drastic difference on where your hip height ends up being. With dropping your hips to reach your shins to the bar, you will have a bit higher of a hip height, and it is the appropriate hip height. When you just try to bring your shins forward to the bar, what tends to happen is your hips drop lower and you get this more squat type position, which is not ideal for pulling the most amount of weight possible. And the 2 common ways you'll kind of see this is, one, the beginner who's just lining up way too far away from the bar, and to bring their shins forward to the bar, they basically have to be in a squat position. That's a super easy fix. You just teach them about setting up to the bar with a midfoot position, dropping their hips to bring their shins to the bar, and that'll fix their hip height almost immediately. Next variation of this dropping the hips too low I tend to see is the more intermediate lifters who are trying to get a super tight deadlift position, and in the process of pulling slack out of the bar and getting super tight, they're actually dropping their hips without them even noticing. An easy way to determine if you have dropped your hips too far in terms of pulling slack out of the bar is you'll have what I call kind of a 2-motion deadlift. So with this 2-motion deadlift, you'll essentially pull all the slack out, you'll drop your hips to a certain height, and then you'll initiate the pull. Problem is, the deadlift will not come off the floor, your hips will rise to a second height, and at that second height, that's when the weight comes off the floor. The reason this happened is the second height is actually your appropriate hip height, and it is the height that your body wanted to pull the weight off the floor from in terms of all of its leverages. This is another thing you can film from the side. If you see your hips start at a certain height, you initiate the pull, and then they rise to a second height, and then the weight leaves the floor. That means you started with that hip height a bit too low. Now I will say, when you make a change with hip height in terms of making it higher, it's probably gonna feel super uncomfy, super unnatural, and super tight. But the tight is what we want. I promise you'll get used to it, and once you start pulling this way, you will not want to pull any other way. All right guys, and that brings us to my 3rd tip here, and that is to use your legs to deadlift. And yes, I get it, that sounds stupid. Obviously you're gonna use your legs to deadlift. But what I mean is to initiate with a strong leg drive off of the floor, and not just try and lift all this weight up off your posterior chain alone. Easily one of my favorite deadlifting cues is to leg press the ground away from you, and this helps initiate that strong leg drive off of the ground. If you're having problems with your deadlift from the floor and breaking the floor, this is the exact cueing you need and the exact tip that you need to be paying attention to. The other part of this that really helps initiate leg drive is to push those knees out during your deadlift. For some reason, everyone pays attention to pushing your knees out during a squat, but not too many people pay attention to pushing their knees out during a deadlift. I think it's just because it's more obvious when your knees cave on a squat, but it is equally as important to push those knees out as hard as you can on the deadlift. What you're shooting for is to just push your knees out into that crease of the elbow when you are set up for your deadlift. You don't need to push so far out that your arms start to bend or anything like that, but you just want those knees pushed out until they touch that crease of the elbow. You combine that knee cue with leg pressing the ground away from you, you'll have a super strong leg drive, and this will transfer over into your posterior chain, so you're bound to be using your legs and your back to lift the most amount of weight possible. Alright guys, that is it for this video. Again, we've covered the low bar squat, we've now covered the deadlift, we're gonna do bench press next, and then we'll hit the overhead press, the awkward little cousin of the 4. Once again, thanks so much for watching the video, guys. Thanks for checking out the channel, and thanks so much for stopping by. Hope to see you all in the next video, and I'll see you guys.